Has Andrew Friedman officially crossed a line from aggressive to reckless, or is paying $100 million for a close to the exact price you have to pay to guarantee a three-peat? Let me tell you something about championship mentality. It's not about being smart with money. It's not about staying under the luxury tax. It's not about preserving future flexibility. It's about looking at what you need to win right now and paying whatever it takes to get it. And on Monday, December 15th, 2025, the Los Angeles Dodgers officially announced they're operating on that championship mentality at a level we've genuinely never seen before. They just signed Edwin Díaz to a 3-year, $69 million contract, setting a new record for average annual value for a relief pitcher in MLB history. But here's the part that's absolutely staggering. When you factor in the luxury tax penalties they'll pay, the actual cost of this deal approaches $100 million. Welcome back to the channel, Dodger Nation. We got the official confirmation of what might be the most aggressive, most expensive, most audacious reliever signing in baseball history. This isn't just a big contract. This is a statement. This is Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers ownership group telling the entire baseball world, we are not messing around. We are not hoping to win. We are not trying to compete. We are going to dominate. And we will pay whatever price is necessary to make that happen. Let's break down this contract, what it means to the roster, and whether this is genius or insanity. First, let's look at the raw numbers, because they're genuinely staggering. 3 years, $69 million. That's an average annual value of $23 million per year. To put that in perspective, that's more than most teams spend on their entire starting rotation. That's more than the average salary of a team's top 3 position players. That's what the Dodgers are paying for a guy who pitches 1 inning per game, maybe 4 times a week. The previous record for reliever AAV was $20.4 million, which was also held by Edwin Díaz. So he literally reset his own market record. But the raw contract value is only part of the story. The Dodgers are currently sitting more than $60 million above the luxury tax threshold. That means they're going to pay a penalty of 110% on every dollar they spend. So when you do the math, Edwin Díaz's actual cost to the organization is approximately $25.3 million per year when you factor in the luxury tax penalties. Over 3 years, that's approaching $100 million total. That's not just expensive, that's historically expensive for a relief pitcher. The contract structure is classic Dodgers financial engineering. There's approximately $4.5 million in annual deferrals, which lowers the luxury tax impact to around $21.1 million per year, instead of the full $23 million. It's the same strategy they use with Shohei Ohtani's contract, and it shows that even when they're spending recklessly, they're still trying to be smart about it. But let's be honest, no amount of financial engineering changes the fundamental reality. They're spending an enormous amount of money on a reliever. There's also an interesting conditional option for 2029. If Díaz spends a certain amount of time on the injured list, the Dodgers can activate a 4th year with a base of $6.5 million plus incentives based on games finished. It's an insurance policy against injury, which is smart thinking given that relievers are always one bad arm injury away from being useless. The Dodgers are protecting themselves while also giving themselves an out if Díaz declines significantly. Now let's talk about who Edwin Díaz actually is in 2025, because the investment only makes sense if he's still elite. At 31 years old, heading into his 32nd year in March, Díaz continues to be a force of nature on the mound. Over 7 years with the Mets, he accumulated 144 saves and a monstrous strikeout rate of 40.8%. That means nearly 4 out of every 10 batters he faces strikeout. Those are video game numbers. The consistency is what's most impressive. He's maintained an ERA of 3.52 or better in each of the last 5 seasons, including 3 campaigns where he posted an ERA below 2.00. That's the kind of durability and excellence that justifies a premium contract. He's not a one-year wonder or a guy having a career year. He's a proven, elite performer who's shown he can maintain his dominance year after year. But there are some warning signs that can't be ignored. The reporting notes that his fastball velocity has dipped slightly to 97.2 miles per hour. That's still elite, but it's a trend worth monitoring. Additionally, his rate of strong contact has increased, which could be a sign of aging or hitters adjusting to his stuff. However, he's compensating with elite whiff rates, meaning he's still getting strikeouts at an elite level even if hitters are making more solid contact when they do connect. The Tanner Scott comparison is particularly interesting and somewhat damning for the Dodgers' decision-making process. Last winter, they paid Scott $72 million over 3 years. Scott had a difficult 2025 season with an ERA of 4.74 and gave up 11 home runs, which is the same number he'd given up in the previous 3 seasons combined. That's a massive disappointment for a reliever making that kind of money. The Dodgers are essentially admitting that their closer situation last year was a disaster, which is why they're now spending even more money to fix it. With Díaz's arrival, Scott will be moved to a setup role, which actually makes sense. He's not a closer, he's a setup man. Taking the pressure off his shoulders and having him work in lower leverage situations could actually help him perform better. The Dodgers are creating a relief hierarchy with Díaz closing, Scott setting up, and then guys like Alex Vesia, Blake Trinan, and Buster Gratterall handling the middle innings. That's a bullpen that can match up with anyone in baseball. The Mets side of the story is fascinating and honestly kind of brutal for New York. The Mets offered Díaz 3 years and $66 million, which is only $3 million less than what the Dodgers offered. So this wasn't really about money. It was about situation, organizational fit, and the perception that the Dodgers offer a better chance to win championships. The Mets, despite having Steve Cohen's unlimited resources, couldn't keep their own closer because players want to go where they can win. After losing Díaz, the Mets pivoted and signed Devin Williams from the Brewers for 3 years and $51 million. Williams is a very good closer in his own right, but he's not Díaz. The comparison between Díaz and Williams will be eternal. If Williams rebounds to his peak form and performs at an elite level for less money, the Mets will look like geniuses. If Díaz dominates and helps the Dodgers win another World Series, the Dodgers will have the last laugh. That's the nature of these high-stakes reliever acquisitions. The broader context of this signing is important to understand. The Dodgers aren't just trying to win the 2026 World Series. They're trying to become the first team since the Yankees dynasty of 1998 to 2000 to win 3 consecutive championships. That's a historic achievement that requires not just talent, but also the willingness to spend whatever it takes to ensure success. Every other team would look at this contract and say it's too expensive. The Dodgers look at it and say it's the price of admission to make history. Think about what the Dodgers bullpen looks like now. You have Edwin Díaz closing games with his elite fastball and devastating slider. You have Tanner Scott setting up with his power arm. You have Blake Trinan, a veteran right-hander with elite stuff. You have Alex Vesia, a left-handed power arm. You have Buster Gratterall with his 100-mile-per-hour sinker. That's not just a bullpen. That's a collection of elite arms that can match up with any lineup in any situation. The luxury tax penalties are the part of this deal that really highlights how committed the Dodgers are to winning. Most teams would look at paying 110% tax and decide it's not worth it. The Dodgers look at it and say, how much more can we spend? They're literally paying a penalty just for the privilege of spending money. That's a level of commitment to winning that's almost unheard of in modern sports. The message this sends to the rest of the organization is clear. We're all in. We're not preserving future flexibility. We're not worrying about 2027 or 2028. We're focused on right now, on winning championships in the next 3 years while Shohei Ohtani is in his prime and the rest of the roster is still elite. That kind of organizational clarity can be energizing for players who want to win. For the fans, this is either the most exciting or the most infuriating move, depending on your perspective. If you believe the Dodgers should do whatever it takes to win, this is perfect. You're getting the best closer in baseball, and you're paying the price to ensure he's on your team. If you believe in financial responsibility and long-term sustainability, this is reckless. You're mortgaging the future for the present. And if Diaz gets injured or declines, you're stuck with a massive contract that could cripple the organization. The reality is probably somewhere in between.